And we are live. Last week's session, the party, after diffusing a profane ritual deep beneath the city, rested, and then went to speak with the regent. Of course, at his side was his master of coin, none other than Hammond Sam, who, after interrogating one of Craneth of Voss' underlings, who had turned against him, they found he was perhaps behind this entire plot to help a once dead god ascend once again. Choosing a path of non-confrontation, the party left Hammond Sam with his position intact, and perhaps avoided a combat most deadly. Lunalia did notice, however, that a invisible Silas the Red paced the room, listening intently to the conversation, perhaps finding it a bit amusing. At the end of the session, with the party settling down for a long night's rest, Lunalia met with Ignis, the fire genasi, beneath the lighthouse, and then took Erlon the Deva's offer to visit the planar nexus that her father and Kaeldr Maloro and others worked together to build. Arriving at the nexus, taking in the wonder of the massive spinning rings about her, she heard a familiar voice as an image of her father stepped from the shadows. As we begin tonight's session, the image speaks, and Lunalia, you see and hear this image. It is very clearly an illusion. Your heart jumps just for a second, but you realize that the eyes don't look quite at you. They look at a point in the distance, somewhere over your shoulder. The image wavers a bit, as if perhaps it has decayed over time. And the voice has a hollow echo to it. But it is very familiar. My dearest daughter, there is no easy way to say this, so I will speak plainly. If you hear this message, my soul has traveled beyond the veil, and I am no longer. He looks towards the floor for a long pause. He speaks again as he begins to look in your general direction. I depart, soon, to confront an old friend who has turned down a dangerous path and must be stopped. I pray he can be reasoned with, but if he cannot, I am prepared to stop him by any means necessary. If you are here, then you have this. He holds up his hand, and an image of the stone that you found in the wreckage of your home, the keystone, appears, hovering over his palm. It flickers, giving away that it's an illusion as well. If you are here and have this, your mother has taught you how to use it, and you are ready for what comes next. Kaeldr Maloro must be stopped. He is a man possessed. He has been for some time. He's no longer the trusted colleague and friend he once was, and you can see pain in his face as he speaks of his former friend. I have discovered his intent to use this nexus we built together to achieve a nefarious goal. And if I do not succeed in stopping him, you must. The fate of all creation about us is in the balance. He turns away as if distracted for a few seconds. A glow shines across his face from a light source off screen away from the image, and he turns back. Time is short. I must be off. Of all the things I had a hand in creating, it is you I am most proud of. My little lake flower, I am with you. Always. The image flickers and fades. There is a quiet footstep behind you, and after a few seconds, a clearing of a throat. You turn and look over your shoulder, and Ignis is there, with an embarrassed look on his face, not quite wanting to make eye contact, like he walked into the middle of something he shouldn't have seen. And after a long pause, he looks up. I hadn't seen that before. A spell, I think he left, that would trigger on your arrival.
Is the angel still here? Or the Deva?
He is. Off to the side. You'd kind of, when you came into this place, you kind of lost sight of him. He, perhaps stepped behind you and let you take in the beauty of the place, the strangeness of it all, and but he is there, just waiting quietly. He watches the both of you.
How much did you hear?
Which one are you talking to?
Both of them.
The Deva just nods quietly and says, I hear many things. I heard this message when it was originally took. I have heard it echo through the plains and throughout time since. It is not my place to interfere unless commanded.
You were there for the recording?
He closes his eyes and shakes his head slowly and looks back at you. I am privy to much, but cannot interfere.
How long ago?
Time is relative, but I believe you know how long ago. Ignis looks at you for a long pause and takes a tentative step forward. And then he turns and looks at the Deva and says, If you have nothing more to do here, go. I will take her back. The Deva looks questioningly at you.
It's all right.
Unless I am commanded to return to you, this is the last you will see of me. And he just bows. I am sorry. He turns and there's a flutter of wings as he disapparates. Flash of light. Ignis takes another tentative step forward. I have spent a long time in this place. After I took this from Caeldrum, and he pulls out his own keystone. At first to gloat over what I took from him. Silly that he didn't design a way for him to come here without this. But then, to discover the secrets of this place, how to move between the planes, both the ones connected, and he points up at one of the hole rings that passes overhead slowly, and the ones not yet completed, and points at one of the crescent rings, one of the partial rings that rolls by in your peripheral vision. I can teach you. It would take some time.
It seems that I have nothing but time now.
And you must know how to activate these. He holds up his keystone again. There is a word. A word dear to the one who created it. Must find that word. When you do, it will work for you. There is something else. He points at the space where the image of your father was. As he kind of squints and looks off into the near distance. Celestial? Indicated. Your father's voice, his words echo throughout time. I have also heard them in this place. Sometimes when the rings pass overhead, I hear a voice. Did not know it was him until I heard it from that image. Perhaps if you join me in this place and we listen together, you will hear it as well.
Perhaps. But there are other things I must accomplish first.
Mm-hmm.
And I will need your help. It seems I was once again a bit of a naive fool for trusting your father.
Yes. The thing is, I cannot get near him with this, and he holds up his keystone.
Absolutely not.
He does not know you have one, does he?
He does.
His eyes narrow and he nods. Biding his time, then. Till you decipher how to use it.
He will never get his hands on it. And it seems to me he's the only one who now has answers as to what exactly happened to my father. If he didn't kill him outright himself.
He looks around the platform about you that both seems infinitely large and at the same time so small, one misstep and you might fall into the space around it. I think I was here when it happened. This is where I was born a second time. My sister and I. I think your father meant to stop Caeldrum from what he did to us. I don't know how the fate of the world was at stake. But I don't have all the answers. Few, in fact. I think for now... He takes a deep breath and just pauses and then looks around. We should return you to your friends.
When we leave this place, will we reemerge exactly where we were when we entered?
He kind of holds his hands up in the air and in sort of a gesture of a shrug, waves them around a bit. The science is not, exact. I think so. Or close. It works better if it's a place I've seen or been before. You start thinking that might explain why it took him a while to get here.
So if you chose, we could reemerge on the material plane, someplace familiar to you.
Yes. So long as it's not warded.
Very good.
Why?
We head for Phandalin with your father and your sister. Tomorrow. I would have you meet us there.
Refresh my memory. Has he been to Phandalin?
I don't think so.
Okay, he nods. I know of it, but I have not been. I might be late.
Hopefully there will be no rush. There is another. There. An old companion of your father's. Paramon.
Ah. That name I know.
I will need his help as well.
He looks around the space and he says, "It is truly beautiful what they built here. Hope someday to understand it fully. But there is something foul about this place, and not just what was done to me here. There is something... Cannot see it. I can almost taste it on the air."
Does she get a sense of that at all?
Perhaps if you know, there's something. Your perception is high enough, there's something. And you can't quite... It's like almost like you get a whiff of a smell, but it's not enough to identify what it is. There's a taste in the air of something you're not quite sure. And you think that maybe if you came back and spent some time here, meditated on it, opened your senses up, and just waited, it would come to you what it is.
I will return here. I will figure out the keyword for my keystone. We should meet here, whenever possible. I will share what I learn. And hopefully we can find a way to stop your father.
He smiles weakly and he says, "You have friends. Appear to be relatively powerful. They already have what we need." But he holds up a slender finger and sort of wags it in the air. Do not be fooled by him. He is your captive because he chooses to be, not because you actually hold him. Remember that. He is craftier than you could imagine.
I will never trust that man again.
Good.
Come, let me return to my friends.
Yes. He lifts the orb up, and unlike the way he used it before, he holds it in his hand. He whispers something under his breath, and it floats up off of his palm, begins to spin and glow. He holds a hand out for you to take. And if you take his hand, the orb flashes, and the two of you blink out of existence, and reappear exactly where you left from.
Ignis, what is your keyword?
You'll excuse me if I... I don't trust anyone. I hope you understand.
Yeah, she just holds up a hand. I understand.
He goes to speak, and the words catch in his throat, and he stops, clears his throat. It is a word, a name dear to him, not to me. For this stone belonged to him, was created by him.
It's fine if you don't want to tell me.
Not just yet.
I will try to return here every night. Or to return there every night.
I wish you luck. I hope to see you again in Phandalin soon, and in the beyond later still. Kind of looks around, spots his boat, still there, nods. We should go. I have a boat, but I do not think you need it.
No. The cold water will clear my head.
And he turns and starts climbing down the rocks towards the boat.
Yeah, she's just gonna sit for 10 minutes processing. Because it's a lot. And then she'll jump in the water and swim back.
Alright. Louis, you have managed to spend some time with Crownethvoss. There is a variety of spells in his book that he opens to you and allows you to have a look at. He also helps you through deciphering his own unique way of noting them down. And as a result, the entire list that I sent you is now in your spellbook. Bon appetit.
Yeah, the picture is just the two of us sitting at a desk, walking this through with his spellbook open, me like pointing and asking questions, and then Pierre just like open and this pen scribbling, this quill just held aloft magically, scribbling furiously, and Pierre's pages flipping by, and you know, constantly like going back and forth, and him like fluttering around and looking at different things while the pen is still scribbling. It's really quite a sight to behold.
That's awesome. Is there, before you part ways with Voss and his troop, is there anything else you want out of them? Any oh, actually, sorry, do you have access to the sending spell? And that'd be Voss asking you if you have access to the sending spell.
Oui, bien sûr, I do, and I'm sure, as I have actually sent you something before, but do not worry, I shall be in contact soon.
Good. I look forward to it. Please. I am a busy man and not always available. You do not receive a response. Not to worry. I will reach out when I can.
But of course.
I fear we leave behind here a villain left to his own devices. He will try this again. Sadly, he is, I think, beyond the reach of my organization. For now. I know not what I return to, but I know I will not trust any till I have proven their loyalty by any means necessary.
We best of luck with this. I do not envy the task ahead of you. And I think there will be a way that we try to keep an eye on things here as well, to just sort of keep tabs on our friends here in Tralamar. But I'm sure we will speak of it again.
Yes, well, it is late. It has been a long several days. There will be little time to speak in the morning. But if there is nothing else, Master Lamore, I will take my leave.
Of course, it has been... I do not know if it has been a pleasure necessarily, but very informative and nice to meet you, Monsieur Vos.
I must say, I have not regretted leaving you alive. Yet.
You have this way with words that just sweeps me off my feet.
There is just a faint crack of a smile at the corners of his mouth, as if he's aware of the humor that he was trying being weak. He stands and slowly makes his way to the door of the study that you two shared, and is gone.
Louis is exhausted after that and throws up the hut and crashes.
Scribble. Actually, you know what? Rogar. Is there anything you want to do this night before you pack it in and take a long snooze?
No, not that I can think of. Not off the top of my head.
As you drift off, you lay your head to pillow and replay the events of the day, the events of the past few days. You cannot help but feel just right as you drift off to sleep, you cannot help but feel a radiance, a warmth about you. Unnatural. Supernatural, perhaps. As if a great pair of wings, scaly silver wings, encircle and protect you as you drift off to sleep. Scribble. You are once again visited by a voice in your ear, magically. He would like to meet with you once more. The usual location. Hurry.
And which voice is that?
It is the vaguely female voice that you don't recognize, other than she has sent to you on 2 other occasions, summoning you to meet with Silas. Like the first time she used the sending spell to reach you, she said, I know who you are, but you don't know me. Hitting, she's perhaps, been hidden somewhere watching. Thus knows how to contact you.
Then I will go ahead and kind of sneak out to where that location is.
Alright. The last time you met him, I think, was a block north of here. You found a townhouse with just an open door, and you found him sitting within. You find him in the same spot again. A small snifter of brandy in one hand. A single candle flickers in the corner of the room, casting shadows that dance. He is, this time, alone. Ah, my feathered friend. Come, have a seat, have a drink. So good of you to come on short notice.
Candlelight, how romantic.
Ha ha ha. You have a unique sense of humor, my friend. I must say, interesting course of events over the past few days. I am intrigued and perplexed by a little conversation with our good friend Hammond Sam and his lapdog, the Regent. Tell me, you and your friends could have likely done something a little more violent there. Why didn't you?
There was no need to, and who would believe what we had to say over him?
Well, I suppose what's done is done, and what's done is good enough for now. Tell me, what all did you find in those tunnels down below? Oh, yes, I know about them. What all did you learn from those who lurked in those tunnels? How involved is Hammond Sam in all of this?
He could be very involved.
You see, I like this city. Unlike some. I like things to stay the way they are. And I like that you're helping that happen. I wouldn't mind working with you again, sir. I do appreciate the relationship we have as businessmen. Cannot help but think I owe you something, and I do not like to owe anyone anything. So, if there is something you desire, name it.
But that would end the fun.
Why, my dear friend, you certainly make it sound like you're going to stick around. Would not be
There seems
opposed to
to be
that.
much to do for Hammond. He may be trying to rebuild what he has lost.
Hmm. It'll take him some time, but... Yes, I thought that as well. While my problem with the man, whatever he is more personal than that. It'd be bad for business if we, well, if we let him get too far along in his plans. Rather like the folks here. They do nice things for me. I do like it when they owe me favors.
Which I'm sure many of them do.
But I don't think you will. I like that. Not gonna stop me from trying, but, well. He, raises the glass a little higher. So if whatever comes next, and, I do hope there is something very soon. I look forward to whatever that is. And if you do need some help, you know, getting set up, come see me. I'm sure I can find a way to, deliver.
You are in my debt over after all.
Yes. Yes, I think I am. See yourself out. Like to have some time with my thoughts. Just turns and stares into the glass of half-finished glass of brandy.
Scribble will just get up and walk out, then return to the manor.
You make it about halfway back to the manor. The feathers on the back of your neck start to stand up. There is something or someone following you. As you move along the stone and iron fence that surrounds the manor house, as you move towards the gate at the northwest corner. Something 30 feet away, now 20 feet away, moving quickly towards you, and it stops as you stop to listen. What do you do?
I'll just turn around. Who is it now?
From in front of you, you hear just the slightest shuffle of a foot on gravel. You turn again, and the Elder Darkling, Shade, Lunalia's friend, is there. What are you doing? Do you not know what he is?
I know who he is.
And yet you work with him anyway. Why?
I've not worked with him, but we do have mutual ideals.
I haven't been in Dralamar long. But I've learned some things. One of those things is that he's dangerous. As is the other. She trusts you. I can see it. I don't have much at my disposal. A few favors. A small group that I trust. I would be honored to add your name to that list. Should you return? Perhaps.
Where do you plan on staying?
He raises a hand and sort of points around the city all about you. Whatever shadow's deep enough to hide me. I'd share with you what I've learned, if you would do the same. Perhaps I can convince you there's better people to work with in this city than him.
Sometimes it's easier to keep an eye on someone if they believe they're working with you.
Yeah, for the first time, perhaps since you've met him, he smiles and nods. Wise words. I'll see you around. Turns and disappears into the shadows.
It's a good city, enjoy it.
Lunalia, you eventually make your way back. Is there anything you wanted to do before the group leaves in the morning?
I mean, she has things to do tomorrow before we leave in town.
Right. Yeah, I guess it is just the Crimson Order that well, you all have to vacate this place in the morning. You don't necessarily have to leave the city. The Crimson Order intends on very likely teleporting out.
Mm-hmm. What time of day is it? Or what time of night? It's the middle of the night now.
Yeah, it's the middle of the night. You're on your way back to the manor house. You imagine everybody is, either asleep for the night or on their way to bed or. It's early enough still where you could probably, if you needed to talk to somebody, you could probably go wake them and. They might just be headed to bed, but it's late enough that...
Her head is very full of conflicting thoughts right now. She doesn't really know what to do. So she's just going to... she'll return to the property, and she's going to sleep outside near the pond.
All right. Noro, what are you doing this night as you settle down for a long rest?
He would be asking, I guess going... Well, Nalia's here, right? She would be here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I just asking her about, remembering in the past about what would... And I'm pondering about what I want to make, and I'm asking her where we would get this. material.
Yeah, I mean, without going into a whole lot of detail, we've talked about this before out of session, but in session, I would imagine that she's probably spoken to you about this a few times, given you some options, and so she would just go over those options with you, give her ideas about what,
Right.
I know about these trees, I've never actually seen them myself, but she wants to go and see them, she wants to help you obtain whatever it is you need to obtain.
Yep, that's what he would do. Kind of go mix in also like what has happened. Where did she go? What was she doing? Were there any? Were y'all messing with the bones of the undead in there too?
Did you kill somebody without me?
No, there was. You would see that she's not herself, and she will say to you, "There is going to come a time in the near future where I am going to need your help. I will need a favor from you, and I can't tell you what it is right now, but it will be incredibly important."
There for me, there for you.
I appreciate that.
Lord just kind of like nod, and just goes back to thinking about that. What he wants, what he needs to get done.
Well, if there's nothing else this evening, you all eventually find some rest. Morning comes early, and at dawn, you are awakened by the sounds of the other residents of this place packing up to leave. By the time you all rise and prepare yourselves, you find them gathered in the building's foyer. Or foyer, as some pronounce it. With Voss at the head of the group. Their captive still in chains, watched over by a pair of robed Crimson Order. He begins to trace a circle on the ground with fine chalks and other materials. Louis, I think this is a spell that you now recognize and know how to cast yourself.
Yeah, although I just realized, like, I don't know. It says that with Teleportation Circle, you also learn 2 circles.
Yeah, I think we can figure that out. They're typically only, unless you find one in some ruins or something, they're likely going to be in, stronghold cities, that sort of thing. Totally okay to give you some time to think about it, and we can chat about it. If there was one you were interested in using right away, we should talk right now. But I thought I'd give you some city names and let you pick.
Well, I figure maybe. Yeah, I mean, as of now, I think we'll be using the Bloodstone or whatever to teleport. But yeah, we can talk. But maybe he would have taught me wherever the Crimson Order headquarters is. He would have taught me that one, and maybe Dralamar.
Cool. Okay. I think he would also offer to teach you one for Flane. He would know that. But that's entirely up to you. Like, just as an offer, like he would think it would be. Hello?
Sorry, I'm back. I can hear now. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I think he would also offer to teach you one for Flane. In the event that you wish to go home quickly, for any reason.
Makes sense.
So 3. As he finishes tracing the remainder of the complex circle, a blue-white portal flares to life. And the small contingent of remaining wizards and acolytes begin to move through it. Not all of them make it, and after it closes, he begins again. And as he's finishing tracing it the second time, Louis, he looks at you and nods to acknowledge you and all the rest of you, and says, "You've done good work. I hope the actions of the lesser of our order do not permanently mar your perceptions of the deeds we do. It is important work, and we shall continue. You have my humblest apologies for all that has happened." You can see a pained expression on his face. Like, that's a pretty big thing for him to apologize like that. And without any further words, the portal snaps open again, and the rest of them make their way through, disappear. You are left in this home with, presumably, Kaeldar Maloro and Ember in the same room they were in previously. No longer guarded, but still seemingly warded. What would you all like to do?
There are two things I need to pick up before we head out today. I'm just double checking the stone. It has one, it's still got one charge in it.
Nice.
I have some armor to pick up, and I need to make another purchase of diamond dust before we head out. Is Laceran's shop anywhere near where the armor is to be picked up?
I mean, it's all, you know, you could make the rounds in an hour, hour and a half.
Okay, then I don't remember if there's any money owing on the armor.
Yeah, I have a note on that somewhere, and
I'm pretty sure I paid half.
Yep, that sounds right. I believe you did, and I think we can settle it up after the session. I just have to find my note on it, and I don't know where the hell it is. I want to say it was something like 3K, and you paid 1,500 up front.
I think so.
Does anyone share anything that they may have learned last night, or no?
No. Lunalia would not be telling anybody about anything.
So it's Louis' responsibility to guard Cauldron Alero, and you're not going to tell him what you know about him?
No, she is not.
Okay.
I just assumed that we're all going together around town. She would have just said, yeah, there's a couple stops I need to make before we bamf out.
Bamf.
Scribble would share that Silas had summoned him. And just the results of that conversation.
And what are the results of that conversation?
It seems like Hammond is in a situation where he's going to need to start making moves to recover or even possibly look towards rebuilding what they had started with the stuff in the basement.
Are you a part of this at all, or was Silas just letting you know?
So are we just all like sitting around breakfast, or?
I bet you're packing up, getting ready to run your final errands before you leave town. before you've parted, before you've parted ways, before Linelia's gone off to pick up her armor and that stuff.
Well, I would go ahead and like try to get the whole party together.
She would have
explained the Silas conversation.
Yeah, she would have probably darted out really early to go and get those things so that she could, be back in time for.
Oh, if that's
up.
like if you got up at the crack of dawn and went out to do that, you would totally find Roiled Stone Song is awake and already working. Not on armor or anything. In fact, as you approach the building, you can hear the sounds of woodworking going on. You hear him sawing away at a piece of lumber, and you find the door to his workshop slightly ajar. You find him working away on a new chair. And if you want to skip the RP for it, and my shitty Ron Swanson impression,
yeah, we can skip that.
Be more than happy to. Your suit of armor is ready to go. As best you've described, with liberties taken in good taste, wherever there wasn't detail given in what you wanted. And hopefully, as there's not going to be any combat tonight, I will. I think it is just a suit of dragon scale armor. I think you can just find it in D&D Beyond.
Yeah, I'll add it.
Just add
so
it.
I'll just hand over the 1,500 gold.
And you do find Laceran, as it is his place of business is his home. He is there, and somehow is aware that you approach the building. He opens the door before you make your way across the street, and ushers you inside. You do have an opportunity to ask him anything if you had any questions for him before you left as well.
She would ask him if he has any way to communicate over long distances.
And he just says, "Yes, of course. I have a spell."
I don't think I can use those. Is there perhaps an object? And she'll pull out the 2 stones that she has that she can use to communicate with 2 different people.
Yeah, he holds his hands out, palms up. If you place the stones in his hands, he very quickly inspects them, runs a thumb over each. I believe these are an unmatched pair, and did you find these, or were they given to you?
They were given to me, but they only go to one specific person.
Oh.
I was hoping to find a way to communicate to whoever I needed to in the same fashion. She basically wants a sending spell in a rock. Or the equivalent.
I'm not aware of anything other than a sending stone. Oh, is there a wand of sending? You know what? He says, I'm not aware of anything readily available. But I suppose I could use that spell to contact you if and when I do find something. It isn't...
That might be alright. I could also ask maybe for Louis' help. Is it something maybe he could enchant? I don't know what spells he has, but...
Perhaps. He seems to be rather accomplished. I don't see why he couldn't. With the right instruction, of course. I would prefer if you, if I found an item and you purchased such a thing for me, but far be it for me to dissuade you from turning to your friends in time of need.
Yes, I was hoping to have it before we left town, but that looks like it's not possible.
Oh.
I do, however, need some diamond dust.
Of course, I have it in good supply.
She's gonna buy 200 gold worth.
Okay. Yeah, he has a large pouch with however much you need, and he weighs it out using a small hand scale. Or I don't know, a thing. Sure, a hand scale.
He just puts it in his mage hand and goes, feels about right.
Yeah, he gets his little digital scale out, and I don't know. All right. Well, if there's nothing else there,
No,
you would return to find your friends gathering for the morning to figure out what to do next, to pack up and take your captives with you.
I need some help with math. How much gold? How much is 1,500 gold in platinum?
1,500 gold and platinum is 150 platinum.
Okay. Lunalia broke.
All right, so Scribble, about the time you're assembling everybody, Lunalia would walk back in.
Is it just us here left in the manor house? Everyone else is gone now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess you'd come back as they're, you know, zipping through a portal. Maybe to catch Kreneth Voss's final words. And they are off. There are still guards outside. But as it's still early, you haven't been asked to leave yet.
Isn't Alora still here though, right?
Yeah. As far as you can tell, they haven't left their room, and you can hear voices from within.
Yeah, as soon as she gets back with the group, she's going to start taking off her existing armor and whatever clothes she has to put on her new armor. You know, casual as ever.
As druids do.
Yeah.
Yeah, the armor is very familiar to you all. You know, all saw the dragon at a distance and up close. It is a finely crafted suit of armor, you know, cut for mobility over defense. You know, it looks relatively sturdy, but is quite lightweight, and has a mix of, you know, a few of the larger bony plates, with you know, the majority of it is the finer scales from, like, the you know, narrow part of the tail and you know, parts of the beast's underbelly, and you know, sort of harvested from more of the more flexible parts of the dragon. You know, the upper portion of the neck, to sort of make a more pliable suit. So it's not quite as like bulky and bony as one might imagine. It also was a somewhat younger dragon too.
When I go to add this, it says it requires attunement. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
Okay.
Monsieur Oiseau, what is it that you were saying about a conversation with Silas?
I think him and I share the same belief that this is when Hammond is going to need to make moves and save face to recover what he's lost and rebuild what his goals were. I know it doesn't sit right for most of us leaving the city with Hammond here to freely rebuild. This being one of the most vulnerable times for him, I think At this point, I'm going to stay behind in the city for a little bit and follow his actions.
Sorry, wait, what? You're staying?
The group has many capable members. We have a cop in our ranks now.
Hmm.
D'accord. Is there a certain amount of times that you are planning on staying here, or shall we come find you at some point in the future?
I don't know how long it'll take to find anything if he does start making moves. But I think on my own, I'm much more able to blend in with things and find out what he could be up to. Together we end up killing dragons and destroying great monuments. Not very incognito.
As this is true, subtlety was never a forte of this group. D'accord. Well, I will be in touch, of course. And we'll catch up in a little bit then.
Of course, I'm not abandoning you. You guys know where I'll be. I'm sure any of you can find me here in the city.
We'll just yell. We can be back here in an instant with the teleportation and with what sounds like Louis' new spell.
Of course. But, Noro, I do have something for you.
Oh.
Scribble's going to pull out the walking bell.
Oh my god.
This bell, if you ever miss me, you can just ring the bell and it'll remind you of me.
She's gonna make an insight check.
Well, Scribble, if you wanted to, if you're not telling the truth, you might want to roll a deception check.
Not a lot.
Does anyone know what it actually does?
Pretty sure I remember what it does. Yeah.
I mean, you.
No, the players know what it does, but I don't know if
Yeah, I was trying to remember the
Characters
characters.
Well, I mean, you know exactly. You know what it does because you're the one who purchased it, right? Jerome would have told you exactly what it does.
Yeah, and I rang it, and then I realized that I couldn't stop ringing it because of the...
Yeah, so I think you're the only one that fully knows what it does, and the only time it's ever been used, you were alone. I think it was you were walking away from Deep's place. Rang it.
Noro, anyone within a certain distance, I believe 100 or 120 feet, will be awoken if you ring this.
I'll let them know how much I miss you two. I'll just tap it.
You're gonna ring it right now?
I'll just ring it right now, yes.
Alright. This is the fun part where I see if I can find
Is
it
it
in
in
my
a
notes.
wisdom save?
Yeah.
Noro's so
This item is so old it's actually not in my web notes. Yeah, go ahead and make a
Wisdom save
you've
16 DC.
You've got the full text. I copied the full text in because you figured out what it did. Make a wisdom saving throw, Noro. You strike the bell. It makes just an ear-splitting clunking sound that echoes throughout the building. And you all watch as Noro strikes it again. Make another wisdom save. Keep rolling wisdom saves until you hit a 16. Amazing. Clunk, clunk, clunk. And then you stop and you look at your hands and almost can't believe that you were supernaturally compelled to keep ringing this bell. But you managed to fight it off. You managed to resist it after 3 clunks.
Oh, it does that too, Noro.
I'll never forget this sound.
But if someone can't be woken up, this bell can wake them up.
You hear footsteps up the porch outside. The door is thrown open, and
Uh-oh.
a guards captain, followed by 2 guardsmen, busts in. What is that infernal racket? Isn't it about time you all got out of here? You had till morning. Well, come on, man.
Alarm clock.
Lunalia, with half her clothes on, just points over at Noro while she's continuing to strap up.
You've got 10 minutes. Let's get a move. Come on, you two. You turn around and shut the door behind them on their way out.
Freaking Noro. Thank you, friend. Next time Louis is sleeping, this is what I'll use to wake him up.
Please.
Is there anything else that we should do, that we want to do before we go? It seems like we are no longer welcome here.
No, I think we should head out. If there's anything last minute that we need to do.
This Noro interrupts. Is like, I wanted to go by the market and see if there was any certain kind of ore or metal that I could purchase.
We could head that way before we head out of town. We can also inquire at the mines outside of Phandalin, our mine, to see what they have.
Oh, good call. Let's do that.
Yeah, I mean, you also, back in Phandalin, your old friend, the dwarf whose name I can't remember because it's been a while. I'll have to look up.
Gundren?
No, the other one. The blacksmith. You might have a good lead on,
Dahlgren.
Dahlgren, yep. Thank you.
Yep, Dahlgren.
He might have a good lead on where to find, exotic ores as well.
Let us go.
So yeah, Lunalia's got her new kit on. She's not as greenish brownish anymore. I mean, she's still got big chunks of green sort of underneath the armor, but the armor is like an off-white color.
Nice armor.
It came from a white, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they came from a white. Yeah, white dragons traditionally, like their scales are sort of a dirty white, streaked through with anywhere where there's cracks or gouges or any wear on them. Sometimes they show through with a little bit darker hue. It's like a bluish white, bluish grayish white.
My AC is now 17.
Nice. You know, you can get a shield, make that 19.
No.
Good on you for not min-maxing.
So yeah, let's. She's gonna go and there's still wards on the door preventing Alluro from leaving.
They don't seem to prevent him from leaving. Louis, you'd probably recognize them. Like, I'm not going to make you roll for them. You would recognize them as a type of warding against teleportation. They basically, nothing is physically keeping him in the room other than the fact that he's been asked to stay and there were guards posted outside the door. The wards do appear to keep him from teleporting out.
Ah, okay. Yeah, so she'll just open the door then and be like, well, it's time we headed out.
You can see that he's got a small pack, that he's kind of had a few things spread out, some parchment and a couple of small tomes, and he's just packing them away. There are 2 embers with him. One of them who is just kind of standing there idly, and the other one who's watching him intently.
Now, we have the option of going instantly to Dralamar. That's entirely possible. Or we can journey back on foot. It takes a few days. The group as a whole, I don't think we ever discussed how we were getting back, but I think it was just assumed we were going to use the stone. Unless anyone has a need to stop anywhere along the way.
Yeah, I had assumed we just used the stone. The only thing is, unless we wanted to stop by and return the sword / kill the flame skulls. But I don't know if you're interested in returning the sword at this point.
Rugger would pipe up and say that he will. I wish to return to Zarikan to ask questions that Chrono was not able to help me with.
Do you need us to come with you?
I have a feeling I will spend a fair amount of time with Zarikan, and I wouldn't want to burden you all with however long that'll be. It should be only a short distance from Dralamar, so I'm sure.
It's here, isn't it?
Fine.
Yep,
Yeah.
right around there. Yeah, just on the back side of that lake there. Actually, like right on the lake.
Well then, let's gather up and we can go.
Are you going to Phandalin, or...?
Directly to Phandalin, yes.
Alright. Then Rogar will split off from everyone.
So, we're now down our favorite bird and our only dragonborn.
I would not say favorite build. I have met some very cool builds in
As
the
have
past.
I.
He is up there.
Now that you mention it, yes, I have met some very nice birds.
Just gonna mimic what We just said, except only the favorite bird part.
Favorite
bird. Favorite bird. Favorite bird.
Yes, his ranking seems to drop as we speak.
Maybe favorite sentient bird. I'm sure Noro loves chicken.
Mm-hmm.
He does. Well, Rogar, we will see you in Phandalin then. And Scribble, if you need anything, you know how to contact us.
And you know how to contact me. We will meet again, do not worry.
And with that, she will pull out the bloodstone, and it's only got 1 charge on it, and we don't need to hold hands or anything. She can choose
Was it 8?
I think 8.
Well, it's the...
Yeah, it works just like the teleport spell.
Okay. Well, if
Yeah,
it's...
so we will,
There's 3 of you going, plus 3 more. So, more than enough.
Alright, let's go.
Well, as you group together and Linalia activates the spell, there is a gut-wrenching twist of reality as you all disappear and reappear, I'm guessing, your familiar spot by the pond?
Yeah.
Alright. On this late summer morning, you all appear in the very familiar grassy spot next to the pond in Phandalin.
Do you want to make a point that Noro vomited?
Okay.
I mean, I think you just did, but...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, back here by the old Ettermath pond, the unnamed pond.
Should have just teleported to the guy's porch.
What guy?
The
Darren's
porch. So when Noro just gets there, just all over the porch.
No, she picks it's an empty space.
Well, it's an empty space.
It's like the area by the pond, right?
Yeah, it's an empty space, and I think you have a stone from there or something too, right? So you go right to that spot without a roll. All right. Well, back on this fine late summer morning, you can tell it's going to be a hot one. A little bit further inland here than Dralamar was, the scent of salty ocean air is just a hint on the breeze. Not a cloud in the sky, and there's just a bit of a dew that's lifting off the blades of grass underfoot. You find yourself back in the humble, homely town of Phandalin. Already in the distance, you can hear a bustle in the streets of cart and the clack of wheel on stone and the clop of hoof on dirt or gravel. A few voices, a very, very familiar sound of the small but growing town not far away. Keldrum looks around. This is quaint. I suppose a vacation of sorts is welcome, after all the excitement lately. So a room at the inn, then, or...?
Perhaps. Let's head into town and find Paramon.
He looks around kind of nervously. But there is a look of confusion on his face as well. Yes, my old friend. All right, and you start to walk into town. Where are you guys going? It's the 3 of you.
I guess we would head to Lanine's shop, maybe?
Yeah, I would say probably first there, talk with Paramon.
Yeah. So I don't know if he's still staying at Lanine's house. I don't know if Lanine is still staying at the Ettermath farm. We don't know.
All right. One thing you notice as you make your way there, you pass a couple townsguard that you don't recognize, and then a couple more. There are definitely more townsguard here than when you left. They seem to be better armed and armored, and it clicks finally that these are the Dralamar City Guard that were sent here. No longer wearing Dralamar's colors, still well armed and armored as they were when you ran across them on the road and spent, a day or so nearby. So in your absence, they have arrived, and what that means is your bounty for the dragon kill is also waiting for you.
Oh, good, because Lunalia broke.
So, as you head over to the Lion Shield Coster, still relatively early in the morning, you can see Lenine is inside, just opening up shop. She's, doing a bit of dusting and rearranging merchandise and whatnot. There are no customers in as of yet.
As we approach, Lunalia is just going to tell the group, just wait here a moment. Let me go and make sure that this is where Paramon is. And then she'll dart inside. And she sees Lenine, yes?
Mm-hmm. She sees you, and her face lights up when she sees you. Oh, hello! It's been some time.
Yes, it's nice to see you. Is Paramon here?
Nice to see you as well. He stepped out a couple days ago and hasn't returned. Said something about an errand in a tower and...
Do you have a way of contacting him?
I do. She grins. Something new.
Excellent. Could you immediately contact him and tell him to return home post-haste? It is of utmost importance.
Of course. She whispers a few words into the air, waits a few seconds, and nods. The earliest he can be back is tomorrow. I hope that's all right. I can...
It is not, but if there is no other way to get him here...
I don't have a way to summon him, if that's what you're asking?
Lunalia is visibly frustrated, but she's just going to nod at Lenine and say, tomorrow will be fine.
She smiles, and kind of looks down apologetically, and then reaches under the counter and puts a bar of lavender soap on the counter. For our large friend.
Oh, of course.
Just in case.
She'll take it and she'll head outside. She's just going to sort of by the by hand it to Nora without really saying anything, not even really looking at him. So it appears that Paramon has stepped out of town and won't be returning until tomorrow. So I'm sure that we can find you accommodation at the inn. She's speaking to Ember.
You notice immediately as you're saying this that one of them has stepped away. You're not sure where she's gone. But you're pretty sure you can tell them apart because one of them has a perpetual scowl, especially when she looks at you. And the other one, from the couple of times you saw the simulacrum, sort of just had a blank look on her face.
And which one has stepped away?
The one with the blank look on her face.
Okay. Where is your sister?
She looks at Kaldrim, and Kaldrim just shrugs. I sent her to have a look around and tell me what she sees. I'd like to know where I am, if I'm going to be here for a while.
We told you, it's Phandalin.
Right, but I'd like to know what... I'd like to know what there is to eat and drink and do in a place like this. My guess is not much.
Well, let's head to the inn then and get you situated. Some of you might notice that Lunalia is clutching her spear staff tighter than normal.
Yeah,
Angrily.
Actually, you know what? I just Kaldrim just insight checked and rolled a natural 1. He doesn't notice. In fact, Lunalia, you're very aware of him treating you no differently than he did the day before or any other time you spoke to him. He is a little saucy about this whole, you know, being sort of a half-willing prisoner. Like, it's sort of for his protection. I mean, he's very aware of the whole reason he's come with you is he's very aware that there were people after him for what he knows. And just because you've dealt with this group, he seems to be of a mind that they are still after him, and they have a mind flayer, and it nearly got him, and he is looking for a safe spot, but you can't help but think there's a lot more to it than that. Right. This is some sort of subterfuge. For his part, he is playing dumb and bored, and, you know, but he's still playing along, which is strange.
Yeah, so shall we head to the inn?
Why not? I could use a good meal and a game of cards. Do people play cards in this town?
I believe so.
Good. Lead on.
Yeah, so she's just gonna pretty much beeline for the inn.
You might notice that Ember elbows him and has some quiet words under her breath in his direction. Maybe something along the lines of, you know, play nice. We're here for your own good. You all make your way to the inn. And Harbin is just setting out breakfast for a few patrons. Mostly locals, a couple of travelers. A couple of what looks like Townsguard who are just off shift. You know, armored halberds leaned up against the wall next to their table. They seem to be in decent spirits. Bit of chuckling coming from their table. Harbin spies all of you. Oh, welcome back! It's quite good to see you all, and not all of you. And some new friends. Oh yeah, sorry, Toblin. I am all backwards with my names here, and it's funny because I'm actually staring at a big list. Oh yeah, no, Harbin Wester's come back, and now he's running the inn. Toblin starts getting mugs out. Breakfast for y'all.
The usual, like Nora.
Yes, breakfast would be wonderful.
Alright, he looks around the group. Coming up. Your usual table. He points at the empty table. Kaldrim just looks around at the group. I'm assuming somebody's going to cover our room?
Yes. Of course.
Smiles broadly and he gives you a bit of a mock bow.
Toblin, we will need accommodations for 2 for our new friends here.
Oh, shouldn't be a problem. How long are they staying? Just a night or two?
That
or?
is undetermined, but at least let's put down for at least 2 nights. Your best room, if it is available.
Just one for the both of them? I'm sorry, miss, I didn't mean to pry. Just one for the both of them, then.
Well, Whatever they'd prefer.
Just one room for the both of you? Ember just stares at him and nods. Ooh, never mind. I don't want to know. Here you go. And he slides a key across the counter to you.
And she turns around and puts it in Ember's hand. There you are. Finest room in the inn.
For once, the look on her face is when you say finest room in the inn, sort of, you know, like that. She doesn't really acknowledge it at all. She just takes the key and nods, slips it into a pocket. She almost seems to appreciate where you guys are at, being away from the city, being away from finer things. But she sticks close to him. They find chairs at the table as you all sit down, survey the room.
Does anything here seem worldly different than when we were last year?
It's only been a couple weeks. It's so yeah, you were in Drelmar for a week. Yeah, a little bit of travel on the road. Yeah, it's only been a couple weeks since you were here. Not much has changed other than the arrival of the Townsguard and the additional Townsguard. Things here seem a little busier, if anything. Your table is the only one left open. Almost as if, you know, as if Toblin filled up the place every morning, and left your table open till last, hoping you might show up, and perhaps sat other people there. But, yeah, there are a couple more tables in here now, and navigating the room is a little tougher, but you can see the business has picked up a bit. Which is kind of a nice thing to see.
On our quick trip across town, did we notice anything new? Any new structures? Any new, like, other than the new, you know, couple of guards that we saw?
Not so much, but you did notice carts of lumber. A couple of carts of lumber went by, and what looked like a large work crew of stonecutters. So there is definitely something going on, perhaps, you know, out the edge of town or on the other side of town. You know, from the pond to the Coster to Stonehill is only about, you know, it's only one half of the town or so.
Yeah.
But there is definitely a bit more of a bustle going on. Perhaps something to inquire of, go to collect your bounty. Breakfast is served. Usual salted pork, eggs, you know, a stale hunk of bread, your choice of, you know, breakfast ales or, you know, coffee, tea, other things that are available. That's pretty much it. Fresh milk.
Lunalia will pay for all of it. So the breakfast for everybody, plus accommodation for Oloro and Ember.
Oh, let's see if I can find my old notes. I believe it's a meal for everybody and a room for a couple of nights isn't going to come to more than a gold or so. I mean, at this point,
she'll just hand 2 gold over to Toblin.
Oh, no, that's quite alright. You don't need to.
You're going to need it.
One back.
Nope, I insist. It's only money.
All right. Something I should. Nope. You know what? I prefer not to. I'd rather not know. He takes the coins and nods. Goes back to work.
Oh, I forgot to bring it up before we left town, but Lunali would have asked Scribble if there was anything that he wanted to, any message to give to, what's her face? His girlfriend in town. What the hell?
Sure.
Oh,
That
yeah,
her
yeah.
debt
Oh,
with
shit, he's
Silas
still
is
here.
paid off, but I think you knew that.
Yeah. Anything else?
No.
Okay.
Breakfast is somewhat quiet. Your guests, let's call them. You can see Kaldrum kind of picks at the food a bit, as if it's a little below him. But once he starts into it, there is a look of surprise on his face as he digs in and actually enjoys, a hearty if simple meal. Ember eats quietly, watching him most of the time. As you take in the room, you see the guardsmen get up and leave. One of them stumbles a bit, tired from a long night shift. The table is quickly cleared, and as it is, others are seated there. There are now a couple, 3-4 people milling about outside, as you realize that Stonehill Inn is quite busy this time of morning. What used to be just a few people, perhaps the patrons who'd stayed the night having breakfast, it is now a full-on Denny's.
Oh man, it's not even an IHOP.
Nah. But the good kind of Denny's, where you can get drunk.
There's no good kind of Denny's.
Just the
drink.
best Denny's.
Yeah. If
Well,
you,
that's not
Typically,
true.
You show up to Denny's
Denny's-
drunk.
Denny's after 2 a.m. is actually, it's pretty goddamn awesome.
you can't. Lunalia, you'd probably notice this first, just because of your passive. Others at the table, the other two eventually, unless Louis got his nose in a book. There are a couple. There's 3 travelers now that you don't recognize, or that stand out a bit. A tall fellow with a floppy gray hat and a long coat. Looks like a merchant of some sort, but he's
It's
dressed.
Gandalf, I'm calling it.
No, not a cloak, a coat, a long coat. Looks like a merchant. Passing by the mud caked around the heels of his boots. You can tell he's fresh from the road, perhaps just come into town. Another fellow sitting at a table alone, sipping at a mug idly, just staring off into space. And a third man sitting at the bar, off at the very far end of the bar, who stares into a mug, but at least once turns and looks in the direction of your group.
Is he looking at the group as a whole?
You just happen to catch a glance that lingers for a bit too long, and then he goes back to his drink. Long dark
There's Squirrel
cloak,
over here.
hood up over curly dark hair.
Not anyone we recognize.
Not anyone you've seen before.
She's gonna wave Toblin over. And by all means, anyone feel free to jump in if there's anything you want to say. I feel like I'm manipulating the conversation.
Manipulating?
Yeah, manipulating. It's a word.
Toblin detaches himself from a conversation with one of the other patrons and grabs a large wooden platter, comes over to perhaps clear away some dishes, sees that breakfast is still being eaten, and can I freshen up anyone's drinks? Is that why
Probably
you're...
Noros. Who is that man sitting at the bar?
Strange fellow. Been in town a couple of days. He's got a room here. I shouldn't be talking about me patrons, but you folk are a good lot and always looking out for our safety. He showed up a couple days ago. Only asked a couple of questions. I believe he's been over to see Lenine. And he's just been hanging about, nursing a drink for long hours, and disappears and comes back from time to time. Don't know much about him. He doesn't say much. Fellow looks like he's been on the road for some time, though. And as he says that, you can see that there is, you know, there's a coat of dust on him from traveling. Boots are well worn. It looks like he's been on the road for a long time. I don't think he's much a danger. I just leave him alone, bring him a drink when he asks, and stay out his business.
Does he have any, like, visible weapons?
There is a strangely ornamented shield at his feet, sort of leaned up against the bar. Other than that, you don't see any visible weapons.
Is there any kind of insignia or anything on the shield?
You could make a perception check.
Or not.
What is that? A shield that he has, or what is that? Just a trash can lid?
Did you drop your serving tray over there, Toblin?
Louis, put on your glasses, please. Try again.
Oh, that was a problem.
Forgot your glasses.
Emblazoned on the strangely shaped, almost spiderweb shaped shield, there is a symbol of a skull with a scroll in its mouth.
I'm sure that means he's evil, Noro. Maybe you should keep an eye on him.
God.
Is that anything that none of us recognize it at all?
If any of you have proficiency in religion, you can make a religion check. But only if you've got proficiency.
I do.
Oh shit.
Oh hey.
Holy crap, you got plus 10 in it.
I mean, it's int based,
Yeah.
but apparently I didn't roll very well, so.
Both of you find it familiar. There's something about it that rings a bell. You don't recall a name. It is definitely of a lesser god, a god not worshipped in major cities. A demigod, a servant to a god, a scribe, something, but the name escapes you.
Linalia's gonna walk up to the guy.
Oh god.
That's what she does.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir, I can't help but notice your shield. There's something about it that seems very familiar.
With your dragonbone armor?
Yeah, she's wearing her armor.
Oh, fancy.
Poker has artwork he might show you later.
Sweet.
It is the logo of the god that I follow.
And who might that be?
Jergal, of course.
Of course! I have no idea who that is. But thank you for telling me. She's gonna call back over her shoulder to her table. He says it's Jergal? I don't know. Well, thank you.
Yes, of course. Jergal. Duh.
Does the name at all sound like she's read it somewhere?
It is, it's familiar. Your roll wasn't quite high enough.
Okay.
Kaldrim's, however, was. And he just, in a lazy voice, he says that the Death Scribe. He's obscure. He's harmless. Leave him be.
Yeah, she's just going to smile and nod. Thank you. I was just curious.
He'll just return to his drink after being stunned at the size of her ears.
Crispin, you've probably never seen a full-blooded elf. Elves, where you're from, not really a thing. Dwarves, sure. Gnomes, everywhere. Occasional halfling. But elves. You met half-elves on your way here, as you traveled the road west. And you've likely never seen, you've likely never seen an elf. You've definitely never seen one of this color. But she fits the description. But the party's all wrong. There's the Goliath, the big one, that she mentioned. But no bird, and no Dragonborn. There's others with them that you don't recognize that left you to hesitate.
Aloro's a full elf, isn't he?
He is. Yeah, that's true, he is. He's also got long blonde hair that his ears only sort of mildly protrude through.
Lunalia does have big ears.
Yeah, seeing that the party's not right for what he had been described, he's just gonna turn back to his drink and ignore who they are for now.
With the party back at the table, the barkeep stops back by quietly. Freshen up your drink.
I'm good. Rogar should be joining us in town within a few days. He had a stop to make.
Oh, I could use the help. We've gotten busy, as you can see.
Well, as you can tell by the size of Noro's chest and stomach, he has been treating us very well to his cooking.
Aye, lads put on a few pounds there, in a good way, sir. In a good way. He holds a hand up apologetically.
City life tends to make people soft.
Right. Lanine was looking for well, all of you, but well, you might stop by and see her after breakfast, if you would.
Of course.
Yes, we tried to stop by, but Lunalia stopped us and said, stormed away.
I just wanted to get us Aloro situated in the inn before we made any plans.
Well, I suppose I better get back to you. And he just kind of mutters and wanders off. You finish breakfast. Where do you guys want to go? You've got a room upstairs for your guests. They don't seem to be going anywhere at the moment. Could leave them there.
Lunalia wants to go to the Miners' Exchange to see Halia. She also does need to make some change. She's got a lot of platinum and no gold.
Okay.
Laura wants to make his way to the smith.
All right.
To begin the questions.
We do also need to see what's-his-face, the guy in charge.
Ulrich.
Monsieur Loro, if you would not mind, we will leave you here. Please do not leave town. We will not hold you prisoner at this point, but we ask you stay here.
I'm sure Ember's sister will bring you back whatever information you've sent her out for, anyway.
Fine. I suppose you'll know where to find me.
The town is not large.
No, it's not. Well, no one's tried to kill me or take me captive. Been here a whole hour. I suppose that's a good thing. It was exhausting. Always being on the run from the Order. I suppose that dark element within their Order. I almost want to thank you, but he looks around. Maybe once we're in finer quarters. Oh, come Ember, let's make ourselves at home. In there?
Does Louis have any place that he wants to go?
I mean, he'd like to go to Lenine's to catch up, but then otherwise waiting for Paramount. So he would end up putting up his shack
In the town green, as usual?
over by the pond.
Mm. Well, if Lenine is looking for us, we should probably head there first.
Let's stop by and maybe we should see about that bounty from the dragon.
Do you want to go there first?
Might as well. Then we go see Lenine, and then after that we can take care of whatever personal business we wish.
Agreed. We should also inform him of our guest in town.
Of course.
All right. You find your way over to Townmaster's Hall. Within, Jeffrey, the bailiff, a familiar face from many, many sessions ago, smiles and waves awkwardly at you, and at the sound of multiple footsteps coming in, you hear Ulrich's voice from within the office. Already? Well, come in, let's hear what you have to say. There's a bit of a quiet grumble as you enter his office. where once Halia spent a significant portion of time. You now see Ulrich sitting behind the desk. A short stack of papers in front of him, letters and missives that he's reading through. Looks like one that he started to write. Something a bit different about him. He looks like he's had a few good nights' sleep and maybe one meal too many. The usual look of perpetual lack of sleep is gone from his aging face. The wrinkles seem to be, the lines on his face seem to be a little shallower. The bags beneath his eyes a little less pronounced. And his mustache and short beard well trimmed, as opposed to the bit of shag that they showed when last you saw him. Well, it is a surprise. Welcome back, friends.
Merci. You are looking well there, monsieur.
Thank you. I might say the same to you, although you seem to be missing some companions, to whom I owe a great deal of money.
Yes, Rogar will be all along in a matter of days. Scribble, I'm not sure. He's chosen to remain in Dralamar for the time being.
I see. Well, I'm in the business of finding ways to detach myself from debts owed and responsibilities. The new fellow who showed up with his contingent of guards is helping with that quite a bit. Managed to relieve Halia of most of her duties here. As informal as her appointment was, she did a fine job. She does have some things to look after back at the exchange, so here I am. I trust that you can see Scribble's portion to him, or spent in his stead.
Of course.
You see fit. Kind of looks at Louis when he says that, noting that the gnome is likely keener on coin than the druid. Well, small talk, here it is, and he pulls out a small chest and sets it heavily on the desk, lifts the top, and it is full of 1,000 platinum pieces. Veritable king's ransom in exchange for the felling of the dragon.
C'est bon. C'est très bon. Thank you very much. It was good money.
And for now, Louis will just pull out the bag of holding and throw the chest in there.
All right. Well, I must say the coin is from Dralamar to represent their interests in the town, but I once again owe you all my thanks for the work you've done in helping make this a safer place for all of us.
Yes, I got a lovely suit of armor out of it.
I see that. It fits you well. It doesn't look like... He stops and thinks for a second, trying to recall a name.
Or is the DM recalling a name?
No, he's not. He just stares at it for a minute. Is that the work of Roiled Stonesong?
It is.
It's good to see. I always wished he did a little more with leather and a little less with wood.
That seems to be his preferred medium nowadays.
It is. But his true talent lies in the working of armor. Well, I'm glad the hide and scales made it into capable hands, and may you wear it well. So, while we're speaking of dangers to the town, what have you heard? What do you know? Where have you been? Anything interesting? Anything I should know?
We actually brought some danger to the town. There is an Archmage that is staying at the inn. He has potentially committed crimes against the plains, but we do not know.
As Louis talking, the eyebrows start dropping slowly, and you can see the jaw working.
Yes, his daughter is with him as well. She can be prickly. We were hoping to find Paramon in town. It is an old acquaintance of his.
He takes a deep breath and lets it out through gritted teeth. I have a perfectly good jail cell right there that is unused. Two, in fact. One for each of them.
That won't work.
Oh, we can make it work.
No, I don't think that you understand. This man is quite capable. He agreed to come here to visit his friend, Paramon.
How many townsguards should I park outside his door? For his own protection, of course, is how it will be advertised.
I don't think that would be necessary. Perhaps keep an eye out about town, not so much for him, but his daughter. You can't miss her. Her hair is aflame.
Very well. Worst case, what would they do? And how much danger would our people be in?
Worst case, he rips open a portal in the center of town, engulfing the entirety of Phandalin to a plane of his choosing.
But most likely, the only thing that will happen is that he may leave.
You know, a few daggers stared from his daughter might hurt some feelings.
He rubs his eyes and looks back at you, and you can see all the weight of everything has come crashing back down on him. Why? Why here?
Because he is a friend of Paramon's. They are old acquaintances. And Paramon is the only one capable that we know of right now of keeping tabs on him.
Monsieur, you have made this town so safe that this is the best place for him. Excellent work.
He is also in hiding, as it were, so
not only is he a danger to the town, but there are those after him who may also be a danger.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask you guys to make a persuasion check. You can both roll.
Oh, I'm excellent at those.
You both roll. I'll take the higher of the two.
Do I have a guidance? I'm going to give myself guidance.
I don't know how well that works. If you could just be like, "One moment, please." Well,
See there. I'll give myself some guidance.
I don't like if you had given yourself guidance before beginning the conversation, maybe, but.
She's just gonna put her hand to her chest, take a couple of deep breaths.
I will take it under advisement. How about that?
Oh my god, that's like her highest persuasion ever.
Not bad.
For her, that's amazing.
I know. I'm taking that into account. He just shakes his head.
Look, it's not an ideal situation for anyone.
He holds up a hand. I understand Paramon is back tomorrow. I'll have some words with him. Your guests can stay at the inn for the night. I'm certain there are other dangerous individuals who have passed through this town without my knowing. He kind of jams a thumb into the corner of his eye as he squints. Maybe fighting off a headache.
Ooh, I think I saw 3 more gray hairs just grow now.
Possible. I will have words with Paramount in the morning when he returns. I appreciate your honesty. Is there anything else I should know?
Lunali would fill him in on sort of the goings-on of Dralamar, you know. The stuff we saw, you know, how we helped the Crimson Order. Louis is a protector of the peace, a cop. Is that not what Scribble called him?
But you know, I do not like cops very much.
Well, Louis, I served in the Dralian Guard for a long time. In my many years, I had very few opportunities to deal with the Order. And in that handful of times I dealt with them, really didn't get much of a read on them. Activities were covert. They came to the city. I was ordered to give them room and board in 2 cases, and in another case just to allow them to operate freely, so long as they did not cause any public disturbances. I know little else about them other than they apparently work for the good of us all. I do not like covert groups, but I suppose congratulations are in order. Don't let it go to your head. It buys you nothing here.
What is it that you think I need to buy here?
It buys you none more than your charm does. Now, kindly get out, and it is good to see you both again.
Yeah, so the Lunali is just gonna nod and head outside.
Alright.
Noro went to the smith, right?
Noro went to go see Dahlgren, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Actually, yeah, I can jump to that now. Noro, you hear the familiar clang of hammer on steel on anvil as you approach the smithy here. Now leaning later into the morning as the sun rises in the sky. You hear a bit of swearing, and the clanging begins again. And as your tall frame fills the doorway, you hear a, "Hey! Stop blocking me light!" "Oh! Noro! It's good to see you, lad. Come in. Stay a while. You, have time to help an old dwarf? For a few hours or days?"
Sure, for an exchange. Need some help finding some... I kind of like whisper, because I don't want anybody else to know. Some ore that the Dorgar use?
His eyes narrow. "What did you say?"
You know, black iron.
He just stares at you, and you can see his eyes kind of lose focus as he's perhaps lost in old memories.
Oh. I kind of break it, and I'll tell you what. As I help you, I'll give you my backstory behind all this. But first, I need to know where.
Make a persuasion check.
Okay, persuasion.
I'd give you a disadvantage, but he knows you and likes you and has worked with you a bunch.
Oh gosh.
Tell you what. I have more work than I know what to do with. Bunch of new lads showed up in town. Every single one of them need repairs on their armor, asking for fancy new weapons. Several horses need shoeing. So much to do. I'm just one dwarf and I don't move as quick as I used to. And the lass, she's always up the hill, hanging out with your friend Deebs. On the plus side, I don't think I can take her in a fight anymore. She's learning. I'm mighty proud, but don't tell her I said that. Look, you help me with a few of these orders. Loosen me up with a bit of ale. I might have a story for you on where I've seen some black iron.
And without hesitation, I start whipping the tools out.
But I'll warn you, I might also punch you in the mouth for asking.
You wouldn't be the first to try.
Didn't say I'd try. Let's get to work. I'm gonna fast forward just this bit and then I'll roll back to the others. You spend the better portion of the day working with him. He is swamped. The 20 new guardsmen that have shown up in town have apparently dropped off orders for a bunch of different things. There's a large amount of construction going on, and orders to fuel that construction include, there's a lot of really pain in the ass mundane things like nails, and other such, small metal implements and tools and repairs of tools, and he is crazy busy. It quickly becomes obvious to you that either you need to spend a serious amount of time helping him, or, and maybe both, help find him an assistant, because this is a crazy amount of work. This town is really getting the feel that it's growing, and you're seeing it firsthand here at the Forge. Nevertheless, you spend a long and very fruitful day, probably tripling his productivity, with the two of you working together. Meanwhile, back at the Lion Shield Coster, Dark and Louis are both here?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. You find your way back to the Coster, and Lenine is there at the counter, helping someone you don't recognize look through what looks like cloth samples, swatches. She holds up a finger in your direction, indicating to give her a minute. They finish, and the patron leaves. She smiles and beckons you over and just says, I'm so sorry, I forgot to tell you. There's someone here looking for you. I meant to mention it earlier, but I saw you had friends? Guests? I'm not sure, and you weren't all here, so I thought I'd speak with you later. It's about the Oh, the one you left with me?
Oh, yes.
Well, Paramon and I, spent some time looking into it and, studying it and, well, we hit a dead end. I sent a letter to an associate of mine. And, well, he kind of looks down and... Well, he's gone. He passed before he could answer, but he sent, in his stead, an apprentice, a friend of his, who I believe we can trust. I didn't know if we should wait until everyone is here, or if we should introduce him to you. Now
Well, Nora was about. I believe he's at the smithy. Rogar will be along in a few days. Scribble's chosen to remain in Dralamar for the time being.
Oh.
And you say this guest is here in town now?
Yeah, he is. Look, I think we can trust him, but I did not want to show him the sword without either Paramon or, frankly, all of you here. In case, it's such a dangerous...
It's a good decision.
Yes, it's such a dangerous artifact. I just thought it would be safer if we're all here.
Yes.
Just in case. I'm sure it's fine. She kind of waves her hand nonchalantly at the air. But just in case.
Is this person staying at the inn right now?
I think so. Well, I will see. Just a moment, and she, you see her, walk, through the back room and, open a door, lift her hands to her mouth and just, whisper something off into the air, 120 feet. Oh yeah, easy enough. It's gonna take a while to remember this name. I suppose I should maybe switch the image overlay. Crispin, you hear Lanine's voice come to your ear. Hello? I believe the people we were waiting for are here. Not all of them, but I think enough. You'd come to the shop, I would introduce you. As the message spell finds your ear.
On message, can you reply?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
And I'll be over in just a second.
She shuts the door and comes back in. He's on his way. He's not far.
Should I call Noro as well?
She brightens up at mention of Noro. Yeah. I'd like to see him. I mean, our friend should meet him.
Alright, I'll cast Sending really quick.
Clang, 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 clang. Noro, suddenly you hear Louis' voice.
Bonjour, do you mind coming to see Lenine for a few minutes at the Lion Shield coaster.
Noro has seen this before, but he doesn't know what it is.
Yeah, you just hear Louis' voice pop into your head.
So he's like, Dalgrim. Like, I'll be back. Do you need a drink?
Always.
I'll be right back. I just leave.
I'll be
Good
right back.
lad.
The voices in my head told me I'll be right back.
I gotta go.
I mean, the way you said it sounds like you're stepping out for a piss and a beer.
Yeah. I'll bring the beer back.
As
and I start making
dwarves
my
do.
way.
All right. Yeah, you head over to the coaster. A couple minutes, and Noro is standing with the rest of you. And I suppose, Noro, you might see a cloaked figure that you'd seen previously in the inn heading that direction as well.
Came as fast as I could. What's this about?
Are you speaking to me?
Oh, well, I guess I'm looking at the party and looking at you. Like, what's going on?
It's about the sword you dropped off.
Oh, and I look at Lenine. It's like, what'd you find? I'm overly excited at this point.
Oh, hi, Noro. Well, as I was telling your friends, I found very little. And so I sent word to an old friend who I thought might, well, learn more about this weapon. And I unfortunately found he had passed. But in his stead came this young man. Crispin, these are my good friends, Louis, Lunalia, and Noro. Friends, this is Crispin.
Bonjour.
So it
Noro's
was
just
you
like-
at the den.
Yes, and Noro's gonna like eagerly come up to him and like skip pleasantries and just be like, what you here to tell us about the blade? What do you know?
Well, Noro, I haven't shown it to him yet. I wanted us to all be here together.
I'm ahead of myself.
She kind of grins.
I'm gonna relax. I'll take some breathers.
Sniff a soap.
Some Linalia breathers.
Yeah, you can see Lunalia sort of over Lenine's shoulder, miming deep breaths.
You seem excited over this sword.
Yes. Long time. Just I need to know more. The origin mostly.
Well, let's take a look and I'll see if I can tell you anything.
Of course.
I'll pay anything. I'll pay anything.
A moment, I'll retrieve it. She disappears in back, shuts the door to the front area of the store so that you cannot see where she goes. There is a brief flash of arcane energy from beneath the door. And the door opens. She comes back. The sword is now in a large, long wooden case. Simple, with strong hinges and a latch. And you can see Louis, you notice her break an arcane seal, an arcane lock, as she goes to open it with a command word. And there before you lies the Black Spider's sword. As she lifts the lid of the case. A gleaming steel longsword. Ornate. But Crispin, as you look at it, it is not the physical appearance of the weapon that draws you in. There is a darkness about this blade. You can almost feel it in the air as the room draws colder. It draws you towards it, but as it does, it begins to sicken you as well. It is just like what you felt in Coneyberry on your way here, but worse. Something was amiss. Whatever it was that left that stain on that place that turned so many to undeath had been removed, perhaps even destroyed. Here before you is an artifact, very similar, perhaps even more powerful, intact, whole, and right here in this room. The light about you begins to darken and the room begins to spin. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Uh-oh.
What? Wow.
That is fucking fantastic. The rest of you see him take slow steps towards the sword. His eyes go stark white. And a hand begins to reach towards the sword. Inky tendrils of shadow become visible to all of you as they reach towards his hand, spiraling around his fingers, and after a moment retract.
Lunalia's going to whip her spear around and point it right at his neck.
Crispin, you don't see or hear any of that, but you do hear a voice. Ah. You can hear me. I thought I'd be trapped in here forever. And I think that's where we're going to end tonight.
Well, then.
Whoa. Wow.
That's not good.
No, it's not. It never is.
I hope you have a third character plans roll.
No, he made a save.
Yeah, but Lunalia might stab a bitch.
I got disconnected. What caused him to make the save?
The sword reached out to him mentally, telepathically, and you saw inky black tendrils reach out towards his hand, sort of curl around his fingers as it drew him towards it, and then retract as he made the save, but it did reach out and speak to him. It said, you can hear me. I thought I'd be trapped in here forever.
Spooky.
Heavy, bro. Heavy.
Nor your brother's into some nasty shit.
Oh, well, given historically what has happened.
You see, what has happened was...
I'll get to share stories with you guys.
Nice.
And you were all excited about this thing.
Yeah, because I want to know. I mean, Nora wants to know.
So I've kind of,
we all do.
I have kind of painted myself into a corner here. I want to. My intent is to get you guys to And I think this sword is gonna further study of this weapon in a safe setting is going to take some time, which we don't need to RP, but we can do a brief downtime montage. Rogar's in a spot where he can spend some time on his path, which greatly feeds the narrative of him multi-classing into paladin, and finally getting some proper training as opposed to the not very much that Chrono could give him, other than a bit of sort of metaphysical advice. I think Noro's going to have to ply his blacksmith friend with drinks and help for a bit, but I don't think that he needs anywhere near as much time as if he were to want to actually craft something right now. I know Noro's after materials, so that's going to lead things in a direction relatively quickly. Louis, I know that you've got some downtime stuff in your back pocket. One of them is getting your book to finally do the thing you want it to do. And I certainly wouldn't mind us settling that in a downtime montage towards the beginning of the next session, and then we be off on our way. Crispin, Lenine, and Paramon, along with perhaps Louis and anyone else who wants to join in, can spend some time trying to figure out what this weapon is, can do, where it came from, etc. And that is going to tie into some other things. And again, a couple of dice rolls and a summary is really all that we need to do there. Oh my god, who am I forgetting? And Lunalia, I don't know if you had any plans for downtime. If you
her downtime coincides with Noro. She will go wherever Noro is going in his search for materials, supplies.
Well, I think there's a simple one, which is he's looking for a haft for his next weapon, right? And that might just be a couple of rolls to determine sort of how long it takes for you to find what you guys are looking for. And it may not be right here either. Take a bit of a trip.
We could teleport anywhere. Whether we wind up at the target is questionable.
Yeah.
Is Rogar going to be away from the party for a while?
Yeah, it's not going to be a couple of days.
Yeah, which is kind of why I thought that that we could. The other thing I was thinking is Crispin is a trusted associate apprentice of a friend of Lenine's.
Yeah, well, so was Albrecht. So pardon me if I don't put any trust in that.
But I thought, given the man pulling the strings, i.e. Lucid, is a friend of us all.
Is he, though?
I mean, he hasn't given me any reason to not like him.
I guess.
Given the player is a friend at the table, I thought instead of us trying to be meta about it and me trying to come up with a situation or an encounter that you're stuck in this fight together, or you all get captured and have to break out of prison together, or whatever. It might just be simpler for us to say he's a friend of a friend, and over time, over this downtime, you get to know him, and he proves himself not a threat, and eventually proves himself to be somewhat trustworthy, and you guys work together deciphering what this weapon is, what it can do, and where it came from, and perhaps what to do next with it, and decide to travel together. If you guys are okay with that. If that's not compelling enough for your characters, I'm open to find other things to do. But I can tell you that I think that he is going to be compelled to deal with this weapon.
So just, I mean, like, super meta, like, so Lucid wants to switch to this character for a little bit, right? Rogar, are you planning on switching characters, or are you, like, on an arc and then we'll kind of pick it up in a few weeks and you'll be back in Phandalin?
I mean, I don't really have another... I mean, I'm fiddling around with another character, but I don't have anything written for it. It's just a concept.
Yeah, it's more that we were gonna try and do like a downtime montage at the end of this session or at the beginning of the next session, and when that's done, Rogar, I'll be back, and it'll be like a month or two later.
Yeah.
And he's had some paladin training from Zarican. A little swordplay, a little how to actually control your newfound abilities and stuff. So instead of his divine sense or whatever it's called for paladins randomly triggering when the DM wants it to as sort of a sixth sense type of thing, he'll actually be able to control it and use it when he wants to.
Sorry, I totally missed Rogar's response. My fucking Discord on my computer sucks ass.
I don't have another character ready.
Got it. Okay.
If things don't line up, like if we don't have a montage or it doesn't make sense to like skip ahead for however long it takes for Rogar's training to be done, I can just sit out the next session.
So we're going to hang around in town for a month.
I mean, you don't have to hang around in town for a month. You just need to find something to do for a month. And that can be as simple as you help Noro find some materials for his next great invention.
Oh, see, I thought we were going to... Yeah, I was under the impression that we would travel around in session. Like, that this was a long-term goal, not at the end of 2 weeks, or by the end of next session, his sword's done.
His sword's not going to be done by the end of next session. That's just one piece. He's after some metal.
Yeah, multiple pieces. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Lunalia's got lots of stuff she can do around town.
I'll give you this right now. If you want to spend some time with Darren, it doesn't have to be every day for the next X number of weeks, but if you want to spend some time with him, you can actually become proficient in performance.
Yeah, so she'll spend some time with Darren. She will spend some time with, because the community is growing, and it's, there's a bunch of farms and stuff around town. She'll help out a little bit at the smithy with like weapon hafts and stuff like that.
Okay.
Anything wooden, farming, animal related.
Yeah, I was kind of looking for an excuse for us to push a fast forward button on not entirely what you guys are doing. We can maybe I'll post some downtime activities straight up from Xanathar's guide and stuff too. Just to give you guys some ideas if there's anything else you want to throw on there. We figure out how much time all of that takes and come up with it. I'm thrilled to like fast forward to a new season, get out of summer, maybe get into like fall or winter, have the town grow and change a bit around you, slow the course of events down a bit. The higher you get in levels, the less plausible it is that you're like leveling up and surpassing everybody around you, getting stronger over the course of a few months. It really, at this point, like once you get to, Ice and I were having this conversation, once you get to level 10, you have surpassed the majority of NPCs you'll ever meet, as far as how powerful you are. If you look at any of the humanoids in the Monsters Manual or Volo's Guide to Monsters or whatever, most of the humanoids, even the ones labeled like Archdruid or Archwizard, if you look at their stats, not their spell slots, but their stats, they're like a level 10 roughly, even though they might have the spell slots of a much higher level character.
Sure.
The rest of their stats sit around level 10. Once you get past 10th level, you're starting to surpass normal people and really stepping into, divinely guided or extremely special, once in a lifetime heroes that are perhaps the result of extraordinary encounters and just exposure to constant combat over and over, but are perhaps something a little bit more special and a once-in-a-lifetime, you know, almost divinely inspired group. Certainly once you get to level 15 and higher, now you're talking like you're the goddamn Avengers.
So yeah, I mean,
I feel like
for
the passage
Lunalia,
of time
there's
is needed.
tons of things that she can do around town. She also, sort of outside of session, talked to Voss about his tattoos.
Yeah, we talked about that, and that's I know that's something she wants to get into. That is, I think I'll chat with you a little more about that because I'm into it as somebody somebody we know says, but I just need to make it fit in the narrative. So you know, whether it's you've got some instructions or whether it's somebody will be sent your way or what.
Yeah.
I think that he feels like he owes you guys for what you did, and maybe giving Louis a badge and a gun wasn't quite enough. So that might be, you know, he might...
never gave Scribble his goddamn laser pistol. He gave Louis a gun.
Well, maybe
Piece of shit.
maybe he'll spend some time in town and get a laser pistol from his friendly devil buddy
Maybe.
for the low price of one soul.
It's gonna be really sad when we have to kill Scribble.
Oh, I mean, you can try.
Simple, you throw a rock.
That's true.
Nah, it's just a rock, a normal rock.
Just a normal rock.
Or a door.
Will it be sad though?
Oh yeah, I
Will
mean,
he be warned?
Lunalia likes Scribble.
What? So, and I never thought about that poker about level 10 and then the NPCs after that. Is that because of 5e or is it just kind of always like that?
It's I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it was in previous editions, but like, I don't know. Maybe RF can speak to that.
Yeah, I mean, you're powerful as fuck, you know, like,
Listen to this hype train motherfucker. Listen to him go.
No, I'm just saying, man, you got like, what, 100-something hit points, you know, like, you're bad at level 10, you know? We can teleport around the world and shit, you know, like, when you think about that compared to just, like, the normal amount, like, the normal people that we interact with, like, you know, a shop owner will never have fucking even thought about the type of shit that we do on a daily basis, right?
Got it.
And even if they did, like in their past or whatever, they're retired adventurers. The way I've seen it done a lot is they sort of lose levels over the years.
Yeah, like Darren's a 6th level bard. Darren was probably a little bit higher level bard, but he's been retired for a number of years. You know, Ulrich's like a 7th level fighter or something, maybe, and that's only because he's been training hard and leading dudes lately. He was just kind of a retired sword for hire for a while there. But even that, like, for Joe, captain of the guard to really get up past level 7, 8, 9 means that they're doing the same shit you guys are doing, going out and fighting every day and, you know, fighting dragons and shit, and that's just not happening. Like, you know, in real life, I've worked the same job for 9 years. Yes, I'm better at it now than I was before, but I'm not 10 times better at it than I was before. You know, I hit a certain point 3 or 4 years where I've kind of peaked, and I've been stable since then. I get a little training now and then. I learn a new thing.
The governor
now
of the
and then,
country is not contacting him to send him out on jobs.
Exactly. You know, whereas like you guys are every day going out and doing something bigger and badder than the previous day and growing with it. And that's you know, like I was saying, it's whether it is because you have an extraordinary path of opportunities before you, or there is perhaps some divine guidance or something. You guys are growing in a way, and every D&D party does, grows in a way that average people just don't have access to. And I can't unconscionably put people around you that are as powerful as you much longer. There will always be somebody like Paramon who is, you know, like, frankly, you know, once he gets his spellbook back, way more powerful than Louis. On paper, anyway. Way less friends, though. You know, and way less connected, fairly well connected, but, you know, there's always going to be a guy like that. There's always going to be a villain that's, you know, as powerful as you or more, because I gotta put villains in front of you you can fight. But at some point, you start stepping away from normal humanoids and stepping into things like, you know, liches and dragons and demons and demigods and stuff, because there ain't no normal person that is going to be able to stand up to your group. There isn't even an extraordinary person who can. I could put you guys against a single level 20 of any class, and right now you would smoke them. You would mop the floor with them. They might kill one or two of you, but your party would mop the floor against a single level 20, you know, player character.
So, where can I PvP?
We need to find a major city that has a tournament going.
I mean, there's 4 people around you. All you gotta do is reach out and smack somebody, dude.
Just kidding.
But consent. They gotta be
go into rage, and
the people behind the characters have to be okay with it.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. No, that's cool. So, it makes me curious then, where the challenge would then be. Obviously, you could scale the opponents, but how does large scale work?
Well, in a lot of ways, it's still the same, but it's just like, also, if a town pisses us off, we know that we could literally just demolish the entire town and murder everybody in it, right? But I mean, when it comes down to it, we're still going to need to negotiate with people. There's still going to be bad guys around, and you know. But now we're looking at, like, there used to be a tier system where it was kind of like, okay, like, from level like 1 to 5, you're like small town heroes, and then from level like 5 to 10, you're like, you know, like regional heroes, and then from like 10 to 15, you become like national heroes, and then 15 to 20, you are like, you know, the strongest people in the world. And then you get to like 20 and above, which there really aren't rules for at this point. That's like god status, or demigod status.
Yeah, you're known throughout the land. You're legendary at that point.
Yeah, I'm grabbing this off of Reddit, but it's supposedly read out of page 36 of the DM's guide, or the different tiers of play. You know, Heroes of the Realm 5 to 10. That's a little bit of a stretch, but like, dude, the Regent's heard of you guys. You know, partially because he's got a friend running your town, but you know.
We are also sort of in the back end of nowhere. Like, yes, Dralamar's a big city, but it is not. It's not, you know, Kalamport. It is not a big metropolis. And all the other small cities, Flane and the rest of them, they're I would imagine the size of Dralamar.
Yeah, I mean, Dralamar's basically a knockoff of Waterdeep. So it is a pretty big city.
Okay. Well, this is where it gets more interesting then.
Yeah, like, you know, this is the next few things you face. Like, from here on, it's gonna be bigger and badder threats. You know, whether it be an individual thing you go after for, you know, for a magical component for something you want to create, or whether it be like the next threat to this land or another if you decide to fight it. It's going to be big, it's going to be real, and it could kick the crap out of you. You're not going to be sure. This is where it gets fun, though, because now you guys are high enough. You've got 5th level spells. Like, that's pretty cool. Some of the shit that the spellcasters in your group can do You know, you're coming up on, I don't know, you're coming up on, in the next 2-3 levels, another feat, and, you know, barbarians get a little something, or now you're starting to get into the point where you can multi-class and get, you know, something else that you can stack onto your current class, because you've got enough levels of your current class under your belt where you're well established. So you're starting to get into rarer magic items, you've got enough hit points that you can really soak a couple of big hits, and as a group, with a pretty good spread of abilities, you can really mix it up with a lot of big things. You know, you're getting to the point where you can start taking on, like, adult dragons that aren't nerfed down a bit, and you can start taking on, you know, a fucking army of orcs and just wade through them.
I don't know, if Louis there, we might need to tone those dragons down a little still.
Yeah.
I mean,
Louis
he
needs some redemption.
He got some new spells. He's gonna be fine.
More importantly, he got a Ring of Evasion, so that helps with dexterity saving throws from Dragon's Breath.
Yep.
Although, actually, yeah, I think Dragon's Breath is always... Or was the cold actually con?
The cold's con. You can't dodge the cold. You can only tough it out. It's man up.
Okay. Poker, about the making a weapon that Nora wants to use. So
We are still live, by the way.
Yeah, I should probably stop the stream. Night, everybody.